2 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are tuned in to another edition of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. This is our special we call Super Tuesday edition, where we interview various candidates running in the upcoming primary. Today I have two candidates with me from the village of Mamaroneck, Emmanuel Rawlins and Leilani. And I'm gonna let you say the rest of it. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you say that.
Leilani Yiza Reed, one in the same. Yiza Reed.
I got you now. And shout out to you, Lou Young, for putting this together. I've known him for a while. When he was back at I think CBS or something. Like when he was, we were constantly covering press conferences and stuff together. Awesome. So now he's busy now. He is currently, now let me get this right. So where cities have city councils and towns have town councils, villages have trustees. That's correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
So for people that don't know, it's the same thing, but the village version. And y'all are probably the second trustees that I've ever interviewed. I think there was the village of Austin. I think I interviewed some trustee candidates. So like y'all are the second trustees in 8 years that I've actually interviewed. So, but I like to break that down and explain to people what these things are, because you don't know. If you lived in the city all your life, you're like, what's a trustee? Like,
right.
So,
I often explain it the same way. I said trustee is just like a council person, so it's the same type of job.
So in city council, people get like 4-year terms. I know some town councils get 2-year terms. What are y'all, 2, 4?
We're 2.
Okay, 2. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so start with Leilani and then Emmanuel. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are running for Village of Mamaroneck trustee.
So again, my name is Leilani Yiza Reed. I am a 6th generation Village of Mamaroneck resident. My family dates back to the 1800s in Mamaroneck, and
that's a big deal.
It's a big deal for me because it's a part of my legacy. But I don't want other people who've been in Mamaroneck for maybe a year or two to feel like they are not a part of the community, because they are a part of the community. But it's important for me because my family dates back.
You said the 1800s because slavery ended 1865 in the South. So like, that's a big deal.
It was like by document, it was like towards like the late 1800s. But I believe my family there was a part of my family that was in the area prior to the Yizers coming into Mamaroneck. They married other families, so that's how it goes. But I am a HBCU graduate. I graduated from Bennett College for Women. I did go through the Mamaroneck School District. I am a woman who believes that community is very important. I'm a Black woman who believes community is very important. I consider myself a community advocate because my career has taken me in those places where I have raised voices or amplified voices for those who are unable to talk or do not know how to advocate for themselves. So that has always been my thing. It's always been a part of my family. And I'm running for a village trustee because I believe in my community. I believe that we need to get back to what community truly is and ensure that it represents all of us. So, and I also, outside even just, I know I identified as a Black woman, I also identify as an Afro-Latina because I will never not honor my mom's side of the family who was Dominican.
Now, are you able to see this comment on the screen?
Yes, I know the Yizer family very well. Mother Yizer was a wonderful lady. So now I don't know which Mother Yizer that lady's talking about because there's a lot of us. But I will claim that person because that person is my family. If they are a Yizer, and I will say this, what is so unique about my family name is the spelling. Because we were prior to in Kentucky, enslaved in Kentucky. And the slave masters or the slaveholders, their last name was Yezier and it was spelled differently. But 3 brothers left, 2 came to New York, and somehow, however, it changed to Yizar.
She responded to you, Mother
Yizer from Straight Gate. That might be my grandmother. It may be my grandmother, because we did grow up in Straight Gate, as you know, at one of the Black churches in Mamaroneck. I grew up in all of them. But if Yizer, if you have a Yizar, you are family, you are blood, and that's what makes my last name so unique. And I hold that with utmost honor and respect.
Emmanuel.
Great, yeah. So I'm Emmanuel Rawlings. I go by Manny. Nobody really calls me.
Well, yeah, I saw the thing said Manny, and then I saw Emmanuel come up, so that's why I called you.
Yeah. It's okay. I just, because I was like logging in, I just typed my full name. But yeah, so I'm Manny Rawlings. You know, I'm a lifelong Village of Mamaroneck resident as well. Went through the entire school district system. You know, graduated MHS in 2016. So I am fairly young, and you know, I believe you can really start advocating and helping serve and build your community at any age. I don't think you have to wait until you're older and have, you know, some more support or more, you know, finances and really have your feet on the ground. I think you can hit the ground running at any point. So I was always a believer in, you know, community service and advocacy in the Village of Mamaroneck. So that's really, you know, the reason I'm really running is because I want to build, you know, help, like Leilani said, help rebuild our community, but also bring back that transparency so people understand what's going on in the community and understand what's going on the board and why certain things are not passed, and, you know, really be a different voice that hasn't really been represented, you know, to the table, and have them, you know, be there to help and create a more whole community.
So I understand, and as in the game of politics, you like to challenge your person's signatures or whatever and get them kicked off the ballot. So I understand that y'all actually were removed on a technicality and went to court, and then were put back on the ballot because of a technicality. Explain that a little bit.
Man, you want to go first?
So yeah, like that was something that was caught by a big surprise by us. It's just, you know, we did our part. We hit the pavement, you know, pounded the pavement with a lot of volunteers, and, you know, our slate, you know, got a lot of signatures. So we thought, great, the hard part is over, getting a lot of signatures. And then to get the news that, you know, all our petitions were challenged was like, well, what? Like there was no like legitimacy to that. So it was really upsetting to have that happen. But then we knew like that wasn't going to stop us, you know, for trying to create the change we want to see in the village. So we really wanted to fought that in court, and it happened that we won on a technicality when they put, you know, there were challenges on a technicality. So I'm not going to speak for them, but I believe we are all very excited to be back on the ballot because if anything, that added more fuel to the fire in us that really want to push this village forward, and we really need to win because these are the type of people we're going against. They don't want to see any change, and we really want to bring that change.
I would say, as a first timer coming into politics, that was upsetting to me.
Absolutely. Like
you kind of froze there a little bit. Is it me?
No. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, it's me. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're
as a first timer coming into politics, it was very upsetting for me. But what I always knew in the back of my head, because I have faith, I just said, I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about y'all. I'm not worried about any person who tries to stop me in this particular race, because what is meant for me is for me. I was, like Manny said, very excited and very happy that how the outcome turned out. But it's very interesting when you try to disrupt a power structure, how evil or how vindictive people can get. And it's literally just playing out how it needs to play out, because people will understand.
Absolutely. There's something going on around the whole country, and definitely here in Westchester, they don't like to talk about it. A lot of people are fearing the browning of America. People like us getting in office. You know what I'm saying? Like, and some cases they will stop at by any means necessary to win. I don't know how Mamaroneck is. I haven't done a lot of stories about Mamaroneck. I've covered a lot of systematic racism everywhere else, but I don't really know the makeup of Mamaroneck. What is the population, the Black population in Mamaroneck?
I believe it's like 8%.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
About 8% Black. It used to be a very vibrant and large Black community. Over time, people have moved out for their own reasons, but also people have been moved out because they can't afford to live there anymore.
Yeah.
And that's another reason as to why we're running, is to bring back affordability. You move people out because you keep building up these high rises that are either multi-million-dollar high rises, are very expensive, and not even considering seniors who can't necessarily still they are on a fixed income, or people whose children would like to come back to the community that they love so dearly but can't afford it. So even on a socioeconomic level, they're pushing people out. So that's important. But when it comes down to discrimination, racism in Mamaroneck, it's there. It's there. It was kind of seen when we were trying to, when village residents tried to set up a Black Lives Matter mural, and how that played out with the village trustees, and how that played out with the community. And also it was vandalized. You could tell by the school district, and I can't speak for the Mamaroneck school district, but I can definitely speak on the Mamaroneck school district and how much racism has been going on in that particular town, to the point where they've had to set up a district equity team, which I am a part of, to handle those situations. So it's prevalent.
Yeah, we definitely see that at all levels. Like, to touch on like the school board, like, it's really important. People don't realize that, these people are on the school boards. People in the community need to know that. Like, today, you got to, I don't know if you, Leon, you probably want to vote on the, to get our people on the school board, because it's really important that we have the right people representing the whole community and not just certain pockets of the community. And like, that plays into why we're also running. Right now the board is mixed, it doesn't really have a diverse background of who is serving in the community. It's really just certain, wealthier neighborhoods, and I'm not from a wealthier neighborhood in Mamaroneck, and that's a population in a village that hasn't had a voice at the table, and it's upsetting to see, and it's just sad. So we really want to bring that different voice and a new perspective to the board.
I think that's the only way a community, a city, a village, a town can grow, if you get newer voices and diversity and the differences of ideas, you know, and I think that's the only way a municipality can thrive. You talking about, you know, I didn't know. I'm not sure if I remember. I'm not sure if I covered the Black Lives Matter situation y'all went through. I know, like, I just covered Greenberg. They had a sign that said all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter, and it went up Thursday afternoon, and it was down Friday morning before dawn, like hours later, like, and then the sticks were just sitting there like for almost a year before like they even removed them and put them back up. And they say, no, we don't have racism here. So yeah, we had to have a whole. They brought me in to have like a whole honest conversation about racism with that community. So, you know, and it's something Westchester doesn't want to. They don't want to say words like racism. They don't want to act like one of the richest counties. They don't want to act like poverty exists and homelessness exists. You know, and I don't know. When they say affordable houses, I don't know who they think can afford some of these affordable houses. I know I can't. So
Exactly.
That's exactly, you know, you have organizations sometimes who say, oh, this is an affordable housing organization. But then I'm like looking at the income level that you have to have just to have one. I'm like, I can't even get that.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes in people's head, they think about, when they think about affordable housing, oh, they're going to come in and build projects. And to even that type of thinking is discriminatory, because you're thinking that affordable means
Section
quote
8.
unquote, yes, Section 8, the ghetto and everything. And then you start to associate the color of the person with those things. And that is discriminatory. Affordable housing is so many things. All it means is, can every person that wants to live here, can they afford to live here? Even current residents.
Exactly. And I just think, like, you know, that misconception is it's really scary to think like that, because, you know, if to me, affordable housing is at any income level. It doesn't just mean the low income Section 8 people. It's people who are making 40,000, 50,000, 60, whatever the number may be. And I just think, you know, we need to move away from this thinking only affordable housing only is Section 8 and only the projects and only the ghetto. Like that's not what it is. It's for all people. The seniors who are, like Leilani said earlier, are on a fixed income and they want to stay in the community. They can't afford to go and move somewhere else. They should be able to live in the community that they want on whatever fixed income that they have.
It's all about choice.
Yeah.
Now, if elected, now how many trustees does the board has?
They have four with the mayor, so 5 technically total.
Okay, so 5. Okay, so I mean, if elected, y'all will be part of a board. But what would be some of the things that you feel haven't been done that you would like to do, or that you think need to be done that you would do if you get it, that you would try to get done if you were elected?
Can I take this first?
By all means.
Great. So to me, it's something that really pulled me, Lou, and Leilani together, is definitely flooding. I mean, I've lived here. I mean, I'm only 24. I've seen multiple floods, and this last one in Ida was just like the straw on the camel's back to really push things. Like, we have to do something now. Flood after flood, we keep hearing, oh, there's a plan, something's going to be implemented, we're going to get something done, and it hasn't been done. We cannot continue to have, a big pocket of the community be devastated and destroyed by flooding, and then just think it's okay to not do anything about it and say there is a plan and not mitigate. So I think if we are elected and put on the board, my top priority is to do something about flooding. You need to look at all aspects. Yes, we have this $88 million, Army Corps of Engineer plan, but we need to be looking at all aspects. We need to look at dredging the rivers and desilting the rivers, and looking at our dam, and we're doing repairs over there. We have to look at all options, because we cannot continue to do it. And every time it rains, people are in fear of losing their homes. We cannot have people in fear of rain.
Let me ask you a question to follow up with that. Flooding, does it flood throughout the village or just in certain areas of the village?
So there's an area. It floods throughout the village, but there's where I'm from in Washingtonville. That's where it floods the worst. But after Hurricane Ida, we saw flooding in areas that never really saw flooding. So now we need and that's what woke people up to think, like, well, now we actually need to start really doing something, because it's affecting areas that we haven't seen affected before.
It does flood in the flats really bad. I think for me, growing up here and growing up in Mamaroneck, I thought that the flats and where I grew up near Mamaroneck Avenue School flooded the worst, or was the only ones that flooded. But then you realize where I live now, I live in the Heights. There's so many areas of Mamaroneck that runs along the side of the rivers, or gets flooded, like in the Florence Park area, which kind of goes, it's the village of Mamaroneck, but going towards like even a Harrison. There's areas over there that flood. People have drainways that are in the back of their yards. This is what I'm seeing now, by canvassing the land, the village, and really understanding the people and their needs. Flooding affects us all. It affects us all, because every single time it floods, everybody's going out of their pocket, whether they're making donations or they're fixing up to rebuild their own houses. Everybody's spending money to make sure that everybody's okay. We can't keep up. We can't keep this up. You just can't keep this up. And then the amount of trauma that people have to endure, the mental piece, the emotional piece. Some residents weren't able to come back after Ida to the village of Mamaroneck or to their home.
Yeah.
They had to relocate and stay there, because what do you have to come back to?
Wow.
And even myself, like Manny, my family's house has been destroyed one too many times, and rebuilding, losing documents, losing family heirlooms, and you always trying to salvage something. That is way too much trauma for one individual, let alone a whole community.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know that flooding was a problem like that in Mamaroneck. And from what you're describing, I think of places like Louisiana and Katrina or something.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like
Ida was that. We had 5 feet of water in our house, and that's first level. You covered the basement, forget about it. That was automatic. And like, I've never, and you ask any person that lives here, never seen anything like Ida.
Yeah.
Because it came in all of 5 minutes. Nobody was expecting it to come that quickly.
Yeah, the water just kept rising and rising and rising. I just remember being up in my home and then going downstairs to, see like how the water was. And it's like, oh, it's low. I just getting home. And then hours later, power gets cut. I'm like, is it really raining that hard? And you go and look, and all cars are covered. Houses are, their first floor is covered with water. The first floor of my apartment building was all water. So it's just like, it was just really catastrophic and scary to think about. So it's you can never, the trauma piece, you can never get over it.
Now, in my travels, I've been watching the rivers a lot lately, and the rivers, when you look at the rivers normally at the level that they're at, like, look like it's not going to take much for this to flood over, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, when it's not raining or nothing, I'm like, yo, how did they, And I guess that's why we get every highway with the word river and it gets flooded. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah.
We all have a job to do. It's not just the village of Mamaroneck. This, I stated this last night in our Meet the Candidates recording. It's that this water is not just ours. It's coming from somewhere. It's coming from different parts of Westchester County. So we all need to work together to handle this problem.
Right. So what other than flooding, which is a big deal, as y'all have explained to me, what would you say is some of the other, like the number 2 or 3 issues in Mamaroneck that you would like to tackle or need to be addressed?
We did speak about affordable housing, communication. Our communication is in disarray right now, and regarding communication within our governing board, communication from our board to the community, our board to village staff, everybody is just at odds, and it's disruptive to governing our community. It's disruptive to just the residents and disturbing for them. They're like, this is just a hot mess. Even in It's just a complete mess. And because it's just people are nagging, people are backstabbing, people are going against each other for no reason. At the end of the day, what is the only thing that's important is our village, our community. So your personal vendettas, your personal strifes should have nothing to do with governing our village. So that to me is one of the top, because after we can get our communication together, everything should be able to fall into place, because now we are able to focus on the important things, as creating dog parks that our community wants, dealing with the flooding, dealing with affordable housing, dealing with ensuring that our community is accessible for all. You know, our website, we have a large Hispanic population. Regardless if they can vote or not, doesn't really matter. Or anybody. We have the French American schools in our community. Regardless if they can vote or not, our information should be accessible to them. And it's all in English.
Oh, there's not even Spanish.
And, and they just started having meetings that they're able to have translation. And I think it's just because people are now starting to talk about it.
Yeah, people are starting to talk about it and wake up and start tuning into these board meetings or these committee meetings, and they're realizing, like, you know, how am I going to be? How am I going to sit here as a Hispanic person who only knows Spanish and not be able to participate? Sure, like you, Leilani, said, you can't vote, but it needs to be accessible to everybody in the community. We're not just an only English-speaking community. The Hispanic community is very large in the village of Mamaroneck, and it's been like that for years. And the fact that this is happening now it's just sad to see.
I want to touch upon something. Well, two things. First, before I do that. So, I live in Mount Vernon, and we're always in the news for what I call our civil war in City Hall. And I thought it was just us. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm hearing y'all. I'm like, I don't read about y'all in the news, though.
You know why? Because people know how to keep things quiet.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't on Facebook giving it out.
I'm always using my voice to say something. But a lot of people don't talk. It's almost like, you know, that old rule: whatever happens in this house stays in this house. Don't be putting our business out in the streets, you know.
Well, I wanted to touch upon that for all the other areas in Westchester that are more publicized. I was like, yo, what's your secret? So I want you to share some of your secrets. I don't read about you. I really don't read about Mamaroneck that way. But Mount Vernon is kind of always in the news a little bit. Like,
I really don't know why people. And what I also hope is, and if we win, is to people when we. You right. I keep that when we win, claim it. When we win is to really get the entire community engaged. Get them involved. Get them involved in our school districts, because we do have two. We have a Mamaroneck School District and a Rhinebeck School District. Help them get involved. Help them, even if they can do. I'm not asking them to run for trustee.
I have to stop you real quick. So Rhinebeck, is that connected to like Rye? Like, that's y'all?
It's connected to Rye and Mamaroneck.
Yeah.
Oh, so y'all are close to. Okay.
And we share the school district with Rye. We share the Rhinebeck School District with Rye, and we share Mamaroneck School District with Largemont and the town of Mamaroneck.
Okay, see, that's the part I know. Largemont to Mamaroneck. I didn't even realize that Rye is connected.
Yep. So two different school districts. But
now you mentioned something about people not being able to vote. Now, this is not a popular thing, and I've been saying this a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have people who work and they pay taxes, they're saying that they shouldn't, people are saying that they shouldn't vote. But I'm saying that this country, one of the things that they taught me and they beat my head when I was young in school was no taxation without representation. Like, what? That was like the whole thing, like, right? That's how the country was founded on, right? Yeah. So now that we're here, this is what we're doing to immigrants right now. Mm-hmm. We're letting them work in our places. We're taxing them, but we don't let them vote. And I'm like, okay, so y'all are hypocrites, because this is what y'all ran from Britain, and you started this whole thing, and there's movies about it and songs about it and all these little things we learned in school about it. That whole thing, I'll never forget. No taxation without representation. They browbeat that in my head when I was little. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're doing. I don't know if that's what's going on in Mamaroneck, but I know that's what's going on a lot in New York, though.
In terms of stopping people from voting, I mean,
well, not allowing, like you just said, like people, you have Spanish speaking people, and they can't vote. You know what I'm saying?
well,
you know what I'm saying?
if they don't have the legal status of being a legal citizen, a resident in this country, yeah, they can't vote.
But I think if they work and they pay taxes, they shouldn't be able to vote in presidential elections.
Yeah,
but they should be able to vote in
I believe the same thing.
elections.
I believe the same thing. I know New York City was trying to establish a law where, just like you're saying, if we pay taxes, you can sit there and vote. But the rest of the state, that's not. You have to have a legal status to be registered to vote, and that to me is not right, because, like you said, if you pay taxes, like if I pay taxes, you can't say anything to me.
Right.
I participate. I actively participate in this government, in this
society, and
in this society.
Yeah.
And I don't have any right.
My tax dollars pay for the police and the fire and for everything else, and the elected official salaries, and I should be able to have some say about that. Like right. I believe that, and I think it goes back to that thing that I said in the beginning: the browning of scared of the browning of America. If you start letting a lot of them vote, then they'll start voting their people in, and there's some of those that are still trying to hold on to power because they feel like they're losing it now because it used to be all them. You know what I'm saying? I think that has a lot to do with this whole situation.
Power, when I said it before, when people feel like they're losing an ounce of power, they don't like the change. They don't want the change. They don't like the change, and they don't want to let loose of it. And it's not that, even for myself, Lou, or Manny, it's not that we're trying to take over and be the most powerful people. We are just trying to serve our community. Because who is doing it present day? You're definitely not representing me, and I have nothing against the other slate. Yes, I did want Dan Natchez out of being a trustee, because he's a current trustee. I did not like how he was governing our board. But isn't that politics? Isn't that how, if a community member, they have the right to say, if I don't want somebody there, I have a right to run and try to get them out. It's not anything about
support
another candidate. And there's nothing wrong with having a choice. But the other slate, or the Democratic leaders, and this is something that was very interesting to me when I believe Manny and Lou, when we first started to run, I didn't know Lou. I had to get to know Lou, and I said, Lou, if I'm going to have my name attached to you, I got to know you, because I have integrity. So I'm not going to just attach myself to anybody. But I knew Manny, and going through the whole process of trying to be endorsed by the Democratic leaders or the Democratic committee, I found that to be
not so democratic.
Not democratic at all.
Yeah.
Yes, I did decline their endorsement. Humbly declined their endorsement. One, because they endorsed Dan Natchez, and I said, what do I look like running with somebody I want to try to get out? And two, the fact that from conversations and conversations with some DLs, not all, because I don't want to say all the district leaders were mean-spirited, or I'll just say mean-spirited. I felt that some people felt that they can control me. And you can't control me.
And that's what that makes you dangerous
Yeah.
to
Right.
a certain group of people. Like, you know, like
When
I said,
you have your own free mind. When you
like
have
I
your
said,
own. Go
I
ahead.
said, Black Westchester, we're unbought and unbossed. Like the saying says, like, you can't tell me not to do something. Like, I mean, you can not advertise or something, but you can't stop what we're doing. We don't owe anybody. We're you know, and it's a freedom. Freedom's not free. There's a cost to pay for being free, but freedom's not free. But we can say we're free to do what we feel is the right thing to do, whether the power structure likes it or not, which they usually don't, because it's usually highlighting things that they don't want people to know. So
Exactly. And this is what made me even more happy about my decision not to be endorsed by them, because I said, whether or not you endorse me, my race is not predicated upon your opinion. I appreciate people's support. I appreciate every single last person. If they vote for us or me, I appreciate people and their but to say that one of the things a few people was like, you can't do this without us. And I'm like, watch me.
that's like a challenge to me when you say something like that.
Right. I'm like, come on now. It's not that what is all of this? Why is this so serious? And that's what I hope people look at, is like, watch what people do and say, and watch what they don't say. Watch how they move, because now that would give you a tale as to how and who they are.
You know, the good thing, both of y'all, I don't know your age. You said how old you are. Both of y'all are young.
Oh,
And
I'm about to be 40.
And I'm 24. So
I did not know you were as old as you were. But y'all are both younger than me. I'm 56, so y'all are both young as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So, but I think we need more younger people. You know, when you're younger, like when your child, I don't know if either you have children, when your child is little, your child is innocent. They're not jaded by the world yet. Like, you know, if there's a little white person across the street, they go play with the white person and the little Hispanic person. You'll see all of them play together because they don't know that they shouldn't play together. They're not taught these things yet. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with when you bring young people into politics. I think one of the problems is a lot of people get into City Hall, Congress. Some of these people think these are retirement homes. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to go there to retire. It's supposed to, you know, you're not supposed to be there till you die. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you need younger people. And sometimes you might need a blend of young and older, you know what I'm saying? But you need younger people because younger people have fresh ideas. They're not jaded by the political system yet. They're not beat down just yet. You know what I'm saying? They still think anything is possible. And you need that. So I'm encouraged to see someone your age running for an office, because when I was your age, the farthest thing I was thinking about was politics or running for anything of a political office. I was about making money. I wasn't even thinking about. I was in the rap game. I wasn't even thinking about no politics. I was barely voting at your age. So
but that's
so
what
I get encouraged when I see young people your age.
No, I was saying that's what makes our slate so great, because we are 3 generations of people.
Yeah, well, that is true. Yeah.
3 generations.
I think Lou's a little older than me. So yeah.
I think Lou's 70.
Yeah.
But
Lou
walks around like he's 60, 50 or 60.
Yeah. Well, I will say, y'all don't know. So I don't know if you saw the story I did when y'all were going through the thing about getting off the ballot and getting back on the ballot.
I did.
Lou called me, and Lou got me on the phone. A lot of times I work at night, so he called me early in the morning. I'm like, huh? So, but Lou called me, and because it was him, I took the call, and he advocated that I had to interview you two. He advocated that people need to hear from you two. And he advocated how much he believes in you two. That made me want to meet y'all. Like, I'm just saying, like, he spoke highly of both of you.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
I think Lou. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
So is there anything I didn't ask y'all that you want people to know about you personally, your campaign, your platform?
I don't know. The only thing I would say is just, if any American people are listening in, is just show up June 28th. We're going to need you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put, so just so you know, so I put the video on blackwestchester.com and then I blast it out. And then y'all can share it with everybody in your community so everybody can see it. What I try to do, I try to have a little bit of fun. I mean, I don't know how many kind of interviews you do. Usually they're bland, this, that, and the other. It's like a debate type, it's like it's boring. So I tried to have a little fun and, bring out some stuff that maybe some other people might not ask y'all. So
you good. And you have any more questions? Like any more fun questions?
Well, I have. Well, first, for people that are seeing y'all for the first time, even if they're not watching live now, they watch later or they watch on Black Westchester, and they want to know more about how to find out more about y'all, get into your campaign, donate to your campaign. Someone just said, Paul Anthony just said, Black leadership in Mamaroneck and fist us. Yes.
Yes, I met him at one of the Cure events.
Oh, okay. Great brother.
Yeah.
Another bright young brother.
Yes,
right?
very.
Yeah.
Very.
See, when I see people like that, I know that the future is in good hands. Because I see a lot of stuff that make me worry. So you know what I'm saying? So how do people, website, social media?
Our website is rollingsyizeryoung.com. In that order, rollingsyizeryoung.com, and our social media, mainly on Facebook. I think I'm the only one on Instagram. For Lou, it's Friends of Lou Young on Facebook. For Manny, it's Friends of Emmanuel Rawlings. And I just did mine way before everybody else, and I didn't know how to write it up. So I said elect Leilani Yizer Reed. And that is on, you can find me on Facebook and all of us. So Friends of Lou Young, Friends of Emmanuel Rawlings, is it Manny Rawlings?
I think it's Emmanuel, yeah.
Friends of Emmanuel Rawlings and elect Leilani Yizer Reed. And lastly, our website is rollingsyizeryoung.com.
So here's a fun question. So Dale don't know. I used to write for the Source and a bunch of magazines. So I interviewed a lot of artists, and even artists that people used to have problems with and say they were hard to deal with. I don't know, somehow I was able to, take their mind off or whatever. And so one question I used to ask people to get out of themselves. So if you were a superhero, who would you be?
Easily the Batman. I mean, I don't even have to debate that.
Why?
Because you think about it, he's got this like power. He's powerful in both ways. He's powerful as Bruce Wayne and as the Batman fighting crime at night. I kind of like that.
Stop it.
I kind of like that.
Being a billionaire playboy doesn't hurt either, though. So
Yeah, exactly. That sounds good to me. I mean,
first of all, brilliant minds. I think that because now you're just talking about DC versus Marvel, and I think my Iron Man will sit there. And even though Iron Man is not my character, but I think Iron Man will beat out Batman, even when it comes down to smarts and when it comes down to money. But
talking about billionaire playboy, yeah,
right. Yeah. But I think I would be either. I think I would be Captain Marvel.
First one of those. First one. I've asked this 1,000 times, but she's newer because of the movie. A lot of people didn't know. Yeah. But that's the first. That's definitely the first one of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
if your house is on fire, you can only grab 3 things. What would they be?
You go first.
My grandmother's Bible, because I saved that from the Ida. It actually, it's my grandmother's Bible that was given to her by her mother. So it was my great grandmother's Bible that was given to her by my grandmother. I would save that. My dad, because I have his ashes in my place right now. My dad and our dog.
You have your dog's ashes, or you have a dog?
No, my dog's ashes, because my dad and my dog, our family dog, died 2 weeks apart. The dog went first. Nico went first. And I don't know what else. What would be like the I don't know what. I will try to grab as many photos as possible.
I have to say, I have not met a lot of Black people who have their dogs' ashes. I'll just leave that out there.
And I will tell you,
I'll just leave it out there.
Nico was my brother. Okay, that and the reason Nico
That's not something a lot of us do. You know,
I know.
That's where I was going with that. That's what
I know where you going at, but I'm like, you know what? I'm a different type of us.
Okay, there you go.
And I appreciate our dog.
So Manny, what would your 3 things be?
Concord 11s, got to grab those first. Definitely my laptop, and definitely as many photos as possible. Any photo albums that I have that my mom kind of made. Any of those 3 things for sure.
You know, it's funny. I watch stuff like NCIS too much. I actually have a go bag.
Oh,
like my laptop bag is my go bag. Like almost everything I need is in there. I got to put the laptop in there. Like everything, I can just walk out. Like almost a lot of stuff. Like I can read because I'm always on the run, so I need to be able to move fast. Like my bag stays packed, like ready to go.
I think, I would grab my passport.
Well, that's important. Yeah, that's important. Well, you can get another one too, but that's important.
Not these days. It's hard.
Yeah. Again, anything I asked you that didn't ask you that you want people to know? Anything? Any last words y'all want to say? Anything? So why should I vote for those in Mamaroneck? Why should they vote for you? Both of y'all answer that question.
I'll go first. So I think they should vote. I think they should vote for me because I think I'm going to bring a fresh perspective and I'm a new face. And I think that's what, in order to progress and move the village forward, we need new people stepping up to, with a new perspective and new ideas. So I think that's why voters should vote for me.
I think the voters should vote for me because I have been for, I guess, almost 20 years been advocating not just for people in the village of Mamaroneck, but I've been advocating for people in Westchester County and New York City. I do this. I have a voice. God has given me a voice, and I am not afraid to use it and try to do what's best for all residents in the village of Mamaroneck.
So if y'all weren't running and y'all were at the ballot box, why would y'all vote for Lou?
Because Lou is the real deal. Lou has a personality to say, I can hear you, I can see a problem, and I can figure out and know how to get the job done. And I've seen that with him, and he has a charisma about him that shines bright. He may, I think what may rub people the wrong way is his forwardness, but to me, that is a strength. And I think at any moment, everybody should take a moment to get to know people. If you're going to judge their character, you can judge politics, but if you're going to judge their character, you have to know them. So, and I believe that Lou is an amazing person who wants to do what's best for the community.
Yeah, I agree. So to piggyback over that, like once you get to know Lou and you sit with him, you talk to him, and you understand his ideas, you fall in love with him. Like he's really been a great guy, and he's older than me. He's been a good mentor to kind of really help me push me forward in the way I think and the way I can kind of push myself to be able to support the community more. And if you think about it, he's only been a trustee since I think January now, and the things he's done to kind of already help our village with enacting a plan. I think they just passed like a $1.3 million plan to kind of dredge the rivers and desilt the rivers and kind of help that out with flooding is huge. Like that's something that we had a budget line for that wasn't funded at all. So to think that he's, joined the board and he immediately knew flooding was a big problem and immediately wanted to take action when there hasn't been action for years, that's all I need. That shows he really cares about the community and he wants to get stuff done.
Now, this is probably something you don't get. Everyone asks you to talk about you. I want y'all to describe the other one.
I'll take this first. So Leilani, big.
That's all face when you said that.
So Leilani's big personality, and she's another mentor. Like her father was a mentor to me. Now she's a mentor to me to really push me forward. And I was quiet for a long time and didn't really want to state my ideas, but she's really helped me along the way in our journey to make me feel like I can speak and that I have a voice and know that my voice should be heard and needs to be heard. So that's how I describe her, as just an amazing person, big heart, huge personality. Every time I see her, always got a big smile on her face. So it's always good, always brightens my day to know that when I get to meet with her.
Thank you, Manny. How do I describe Manny? Manny is slow.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
If my daddy was his mentor and my daddy was slow, so he must have learned that from him. But what I appreciate about Manny is that he loves his community, and he has shown it in way in ways that people twice his age have not. And he has the heart. He wants to learn. He's eager to learn, and
That's
he
important.
has the steadfastness to get the job done. And I think he will do a good job. I personally just need him to be present. Yes. But he's definitely shown growth. And I think we all have. You don't go through trials and tribulations and not grow. And if you don't, you need to figure out what went wrong. But we've all shown growth, and I believe we've all supported each other. So I give thanks to Manny, I give thanks to Lou, and I give thanks to you, AJ, for allowing us to be in this space. Because the race ain't easy, but somebody got to do it.
So y'all are in the June 28th. Is it June 28th?
June 28th is primaries.
Yeah, y'all are in the June 28th Democratic primary.
Yes.
Yeah, so everybody that's hearing this needs to go out and support the two of y'all and bring some fresh blood into the village trustees.
Yes.
Well, I thank you for taking time. I always tell people I had a lot of money, I've lost money, I've got money again, but the one thing I have never been able to get back is time. So I'm very respectful for people's time, and I thank y'all. Y'all didn't have to. Before I wrote the article, y'all may never have even heard of Black Westchester. I don't know. Okay, so y'all didn't have to do this. You know what I mean? So even though I have a show and I think I am the show, but you didn't have to do this. So I appreciate your time. I wish y'all the best. And when y'all win, I'd like to have y'all come back.
Definitely, yeah.
And keep us updated on what's going on and the elevation of the village and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Want some sauce?
And with that, we're out. This has been another edition of the Black Westchester Power Hour, our Super Tuesdays edition. The reason we do the Super Tuesdays, at one point, the show's called People Before Politics. And between now and the primary, it was nothing but politics. And, we wasn't getting to the issue. So we started, my friend Lorraine Lopez, my former co-host, we came up with the Super Tuesdays so we can do Candidates Tuesdays and we can hit the issue still on Sundays. So that's why we did this. And this has been your future Village of Mamaroneck trustees. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody who listened. Y'all be blessed.
All right.